Kody Brown stood alone in the middle of the house they had once called home. His eyes were bloodshot, his hair a tangled mess, and his hands trembled as he clutched the already opened envelope. He had read the letter hours ago, the seal torn, the truth undeniable, but still he fixated on one line, reading it again and again as if willing it to somehow change. All future payments and residuals in connection with the Sister Wives series are terminated effective immediately. This is the final installment. TLC had made their decision. No final season. No farewell episode. No chance for redemption. And most of all, no more money. Robyn lingered at the edge of the kitchen, her posture uneasy, her presence quiet. Her hair was unkempt, and the smeared makeup beneath her eyes told the story of recent tears. She tried to speak, to offer comfort or clarity, anything to help him process, but Kody wasn't ready to hear it. Not from her. Not from anyone. When he finally spoke, his voice was hoarse and low, each word edged in bitterness. "They're blaming me. I'm the liability. After everything I did for them." "Kody." Robyn's voice barely rose above a whisper, cautious, careful, but he cut her off, turning to face her fully. "You made me cut everyone else out," he said, his voice rising. "You were supposed to be the one. My soulmate. My reason. This was supposed to be the legacy." He shouted now, his chest heaving. Robyn instinctively stepped back. And then, as if on cue, the echo of a past life mocked them both. "Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Don't forget to like the video." The fake cheer of an old clip rang out in his head. His voice. His dreams. "I gave up everything. My wives. My kids. For you. For this fantasy you couldn't let go of." Robyn's eyes flared, her sorrow quickly turning to fury. "You didn't sacrifice anything," she snapped. "You destroyed it all with your ego. Your rage. You weren't a husband, Kody. You were a man falling apart." In that one breathless moment, the last fragile thread snapped. Kody's hand lashed out. The sound of the slap cracked through the empty house like a gunshot. Robyn hit the ground, one hand to her cheek, stunned. Everything stopped. Kody's face drained of color. "Robyn," he choked. I didn't mean to." But she said nothing. No scream. No tears. No words. Just silence. And in that silence, every excuse lost its weight. Robyn defended herself, insisting her spending habits were simply meant to lift their quality of life. Not reckless, just an attempt to buy a little happiness. But with Janelle scrambling to regain financial stability, Robyn's lavish choices began to feel more like indulgences than good intentions. Critics were quick to compare her to Marie Antoinette, tone deaf to the struggle around her. Though she sometimes presents as warm and thoughtful, Robyn's so-called villain edit wasn't entirely undeserved. Her fierce loyalty to Kody didn't always extend to his former wives, Janelle, Mary, and Christine. In fact, some of her words over the years cut especially deep, particularly when she described her own children with Kody as the central family, implicitly dismissing the rest of the Brown children as less than. Was such a statement really necessary? Probably not. Even if she believed it to be the truth, it came across more as insecurity than honesty. Instead of acknowledging the imbalance, she seemed to double down, turning favoritism into a fact. And in doing so, she drove the family even further apart. A little sensitivity would have gone a long way. How could the other children possibly feel, hearing they were excluded from the so-called core family? Paycheck Brown was only one of many who found himself drifting away from Kody, and it's easy to understand why. Robyn, whose life had quietly shifted toward monogamy, often seemed like a mystery. But she also seemed determined to distance herself, not just from the other wives but from their children as well. Why push them away? Why isolate those who weren't hers biologically? Most people would hesitate to use a term as alienating as core family. But Robyn, she knew exactly what she was saying. She wasn't naive. She had to understand how hurtful it would be, how it would land with the women who were never fully embraced, never quite loved in the same way. Kody and Robyn never shied away from flaunting their connection. At one point, Kody even invited Janelle along on what was supposed to be a date, only to coldly dismiss her. And with Mary, he was openly dismissive, even ridiculing the tension in their relationship as if she hadn't already sensed it. Then came the land deal. Kody sold a piece of Coyote Pass to Robyn for just $10, only to later list it for $1.5 million. And for one fleeting moment he seemed to try and make things right, offering Mary and Janelle a larger share of the property. That rare gesture felt surprisingly fair, almost generous. The truth is, Kody had long been dependent on these women. Without their contributions, he never could have afforded the $880,000 house. They all built that life together. By briefly restoring some equity, Kody actually showed a flicker of humanity. For the first time in a long while, the man I'd grown to see as selfish and short-tempered seemed real. Almost decent. Almost. For all his faults, Kody often showed indifference toward his wives who weren't Robyn. So, seeing even a small gesture of goodwill meant something. I was tired of resenting him. The anger had become exhausting, like drinking bitterness from a cracked cup. But Robyn, that's a different story. She presents herself as the meek, soft-spoken wife, but underneath, she's sharp. And when she chooses to use her words, they can cut deep. She doesn't lash out often, but when she does, it leaves damage. Christine, by contrast, is the antithesis. She speaks about growth, about moving forward, and she lives that truth. Through all the pain, Christine has found joy. She's resilient. She shines. She chooses light over bitterness, hope over regret. She's living a life full of color now. There are plenty of things Robyn has said that raised eyebrows, but none as unforgettable as the core family comment. And then there were her remarks about Kody's former wives. Their stretch marks, their weight. It didn't just feel insecure. It felt cruel. You don't tear other women down when you're comfortable in your own skin. You don't point out their scars and call it honesty. That's not strength. That's weakness dressed as superiority. Everyone already knew Robyn was Kody's favorite. No one was trying to take her place. But when she mocked the appearances of the women he used to love, it said something darker, something mean-spirited. Christine, Mary, and Janelle each have their own kind of beauty. They deserved kindness, not criticism, especially not from someone who once claimed to love them. Robyn's behavior in those moments felt petty, beneath her, and it made me wonder, if she were truly secure in herself, would she need to tear others down to feel taller? Wouldn't she be too busy building a peaceful life for her children, her home, her happiness? Instead, shutting out the ex-wives sends a different message, that she still sees them as threats. Even though they've moved on, she hasn't. And that says more about her than it ever will about them. It's clear Robyn feels deeply and her emotions shouldn't be dismissed. Still, it's hard not to question her when she lays the blame for their failed marriage entirely at Kody's feet, especially after all he's done for her. For better or worse, Kody sacrificed a lot for Robyn. He distanced himself from his 3 other wives, sidelining them in favor of his relationship with her. He's gone out of his way to make her feel special, almost like a fairy godfather granting her every wish. Maybe his constant need to please her and his occasional outbursts stem from guilt. He knows deep down the pain he's caused. Kody's taken plenty of heat for the choices he made, especially those revolving around Robyn. And while he might try to ignore the criticism, I believe he's aware, at least on some level, of the damage left in his wake. People are rarely just one thing, and even Kody, often painted as the villain, might be battling private struggles like anxiety or depression, especially as he begins to reckon with how fractured his family has become. In truth, being around Robyn may have influenced Kody to make choices that turned him into one of Sister Wives' most polarizing figures. Now that the dust has settled, Christine and Janelle, 2 of his former wives, are forging ahead, finding happiness in their own ways. Christine has even taken Janelle under her wing, offering advice and encouragement when it comes to love and starting over. At one time, Kody shared his life with 4 women, Mary, Janelle, Christine, and Robyn, and together they raised 18 children. The show followed their journey from town to town, eventually landing them at Coyote Pass. But things unraveled, especially during the COVID-19 pandemic, exposing cracks that had long been forming. Recently, Us Weekly released a sneak peek of an upcoming episode where Christine playfully suggests that Janelle try online dating. She even recommends a niche site like Farmers Only, because after all, that's how Christine met her now husband, David Woolley. Christine is convinced Janelle would thrive with someone who shares her love for nature and the outdoors. She imagines that a fellow earth-loving soul could be just the kind of partner Janelle deserves. Christine's journey towards self-discovery began the moment she left Kody. She was the first to walk away, and in doing so she paved the path for the others. Her courage created a ripple effect. Not long after making that brave move, Christine met David. Within a year, they were married and have been enjoying a deeply fulfilling life together. They even started a business which has been thriving ever since. It's hard not to imagine how different life might have been if Christine hadn't left. Her decision was the spark that led to both her and Janelle living fuller, freer lives. Janelle has since become a grandmother for the third time, celebrating her growing family with daughter Madison, and is also starting a new venture, a flower farm and lifestyle brand called Tat Farms. Christine understands how hard it can be to let go of the past, but with David's love and support, she's found the strength to fully embrace her future. She hopes Janelle finds the same kind of joy. So when Christine joked about Janelle finding love on Farmers Only, it wasn't just a joke. That website is tailor-made for people who live for the rural lifestyle, something Janelle holds close to her heart. It might actually be the perfect place for her to connect with someone who shares her values. Meanwhile, the long-running dispute over the Brown family's land at Coyote Pass has finally reached its end. The property, originally purchased by Kody, Robyn, Mary, Janelle and Christine in 2018 for $820,000, was recently sold for $1.5 million. The family walked away with a significant profit. Kody had once envisioned building a massive house on that land, a single home where he and all 4 wives would live under one roof with their 18 kids. But as the marriages fell apart, so did that dream. He eventually split the land into 5 parcels, one for each wife and one for himself. The dream of communal living was already fading, but it completely disappeared when 3 of the 4 wives left him. The stunning mountain views in Flagstaff, Arizona, where Christine once said she could hear angels singing, now belong to someone else. And those angels? They've been silent for a long time. Christine took their youngest daughter, Truly, and moved back to Utah after officially divorcing Kody in the fall of 2021. She married David Woolley in 2022 and has since been living a joyful, committed, monogamous life. She let go of both Kody and Robyn, and never looked back. According to the U.S. Sun, Christine sold her 50% share of the Coyote Pass property to Kody for just $10 on July 28, 2022. As things escalated, Janelle followed suit later that year and Mary soon after. Janelle and Mary were then each given 25% ownership of the remaining 5.16-acre property, while Kody and Robyn retained the other 50%. Their main concern? Reclaiming their financial investments. On this season of Sister Wives, Janelle spoke openly about her desire to leave behind a legacy for her 6 children with Kody, including their son Garrison. Tragically, Garrison passed away in March 2024 at just 25 years old. In a deeply emotional moment, Janelle confessed, "Mary and I have no idea what's happening. We're clearly frustrated. There's no communication. Nothing is moving forward." She even pleaded with Mary to stand with her, promising to hire a lawyer if necessary to protect their rights.